Are we getting it? Okay, let's see if we can get it now. All right, we're live now here, right here on YouTube, babies. Here's old Grandpa back with you, bringing you a little update on what's going on. If you got any questions while I'm rapping along here, there is, let me find it here. Yeah, there's a little comment section right alongside the video here. Ask me any questions in that area. I'll be able to establish it and go from there, okay? So really, we're in some awesome and amazing good times. These last 3 days of May, probably the last 3 days of forever. It feels like, the energies are strong. They continue building up here. And our heart is just getting better and better and better. I mean, wow. Expansive. I mean, on the Coyote Medicine Show, which is my radio program. We run on the Hazy Radio Network, hazyradio.com, Heyz. I'll give you a link at the end of the video if I remember it, or I'll put it in the description. But you want to be there. I'm like 4 to 7 in the afternoons Eastern Time and midnight to 5 a.m. every night of the week, babies, and you're going to love it. Just get there and help us make this transition, and a whole bunch of good music, a whole bunch of good rock and roll to soothe your soul, a whole bunch to ease away your pain and heartache if there's any left in your life, Been seeing a lot of good souls check out lately. I know there's some real preparation going on the other side, and many of our dear divine beings that have helped put the motion of this event in place. When I say the event, I'm talking about the reconnection with our star family, the establishment of fullness in humanity for the first time since we fell away from it long, long time ago, there around the beginning of time, babies. We've come full circle, and you'll notice life does this a lot. You go around in big circles. And we've come full circle on this one. It's really amazing, the synchronicity here. My personal belief is that this area around Crestone, Colorado, is the area of original human habitation in this reality. Of course, in that time, the geography here would be much different than it is now. It was more of a tropical place, etc. We lived in the tall mountains, in beautiful castles up there. I guess you'd call them castles. They weren't built like castles we know now. They were very simple and elegant, and it was like the weather was always temperate, and babies, we were just rocking down. And then this big change hit, and bam, everything come unwound. Humanity split off in about 6 different directions. I mean, the whole thing, it was game over, start over. And man, it was a rough, rough ride ever since. And there's been this kind of this enmity between the male and female, this lack of understanding, even though we're the same identical being and person, just presented in 2 different forms. One's a little softer, but it's all softness in here. But the ride has been really rough and difficult, and it's amazing that we've managed to achieve the moments together that we have here. It's been a rough one, especially between the man and the woman, because we've just had this disease, this illness, that hasn't allowed us to see one another in an equitous sort of way. Our attitudes were kind of depraved for the longest of times in the sensual and sexual areas, man. Intimate connections were impossible to find, yet look, every now and then there comes the divine. And we've managed to achieve a state in our dumbed down states where we could carry the divine energy forward that way, in intimate ways, and keep that energy alive throughout humanity. So despite all of our darkness, this is why we built this thing kind of wacky like that, to make sure that the divine would remain within us throughout the generations. That's what we as humans had to carry all the way through, was this essence of the divine. And in order to do that, we had to experience it every now and then, revive the energy from inside, even though it's greatly hidden. So what did we do? You know where we put it. And it works. But it makes a very corrupt world at the same time. Things are turned around backwards, upside down, and, it takes a lot of skill to maneuver your way through this area of life. It's really, really important that we do so, though. And we have done so throughout history and the generations, and that has kept it alive, this spirit of the divine, right to now. So now there are beings on this planet that can gather the realms together and bring the divine back into full consciousness in each and every being that lives, not just humans, but everyone, everything. Because we are in this state already where we're divinely connected with everything. The full conscious presence of creation is in all, especially you in your own heart. So what I do, open my heart, give her a little circle, get these energies uniform inside. There's like these 4 hearts. There's one here near your throat, one down here in the solar plexus, one here where your heart is, the flesh heart, and one over here, which is the emotional spiritual heart. And they all join and gather in this center heart right here, see? So there you got the representation of the 7 directions, really the 4, plus you in the middle, plus the other 2 coming at you and going through. You see? There you are. We are the juncture of the universe, the juncture of love, the place where it all comes together. That's why we experience moments of divinity when we're in those kind of places. It does come, but only once in a while, and only when the timing's just right and the necessity is fulfilled and the energy is carried forward throughout the generations. You can see a little more of that if you read my book, The Atomic Bum by Coyote Bear, Koyotebare, The Atomic Bum, B-U-M, like your backside, or a hobo knocking at your door. Don't happen much anymore, does it? Nope. Hobo comes knocking at your door, the police be right behind him, arrest the little sucker, huh? It's crazy, this world of today, what we've allowed to transpire here. When I was a kid, it was a Nazi empire, basically, with a soft edge, and everything was cut and dried, and you were expected to do this, that, and the other, and that was life, and this is the way it was. And then along came the 60s and the spiritual revolution of the ages, and the heart of humanity began to open up where it had been closed forever and ever, and barely managed to squeak through on those few little moments of divine empowerment that would occur during intimate relations between 2 or more human beings. Babies, it's amazing the reality we live in. When your eyes become clear, you start to see it this way, and everything that was kind of stacked against you seems like, wow, that was just pushing me in a good direction. You see, we get free, we get loose of life, we lose all of our insecurities and fears this way. When you start to see from what? The heart's perspective. The reality of truth within yourself, the truth that is you, that lives in you and loves you, and of course is your love too. All of us united in that one single heart. So there's a moment coming which we call the event, and it's staged here somewhere around Crestone, Colorado, here in the recent days. I mean, it's coming right now. It's already in motion. I feel the divine way falling into place. There's incoming energies here in Crestone like you wouldn't believe. And babies, keep that love coming our way. Unite your heart with ours and keep that love coming our way here. Keep Mother God and I in a great space. Keep this community in a good space. We need this unified field. We don't need all this anxiety and all this backbiting and warfare that goes on in little towns like this. You wouldn't believe how petty egos can be and how insane regulation can get and how bad corruption is in a tiny little place like this where there shouldn't be 3 people doing anything to anybody other than love, love, love. You know what I mean? So we've kind of gotten off the path here a little bit energetically, yet the power of this place is so strong. It's pulling us all right back in to Mother Earth's heart. So all of these inequities will evaporate, and we will be a solid community joined in the heart very shortly with your help, with your love. So keep sending it, babies. Just radiate it outward like this, right from the center of your forehead, from your hands, and help us get in the proper vibe to bring in the vibe tribe, babies. Now this gathering, it's literal in the physical reality. It will be visible, and it's just simply our star family coming back to reunite with us. As I've told you before, the star family's ready. It's up to us to create this moment so that it can happen. The energies have to be right. That's what they've been waiting for all this time. The moment that we finally unite and get the, what do you call it? The divine reunion going on inside of ourselves. And since Mother God and I, as our grandfather energy, have come in connection with one another, these energies have been equalizing and actually wiping out the inequity that we've had for generations between the genders. This misperception, this lie, is evaporating. And soon the truth will be known that we are all together in this. Perfectly so. And each of us is divinely oriented to serve in a very essential place in this reality. And we go about doing that automatically without even thinking about it. So constantly throughout your life, we are in service to humanity and the higher good of all, whether we know it or not. Some far more than others in appearance. But in reality, everyone and everything is moving in this direction towards the revelation of divine truth. We've already entered into the age of truth perhaps about a week ago or so, which means that we're already kind of in a 5D world. You know, I hate to use the dimensional realities, but it puts it in a place where you can understand it. I don't see divisions when I see dimensions. I don't see levels when I see dimensions, though I may speak of it that way, because the language lacks any vehicle by which to describe reality. Yet, reality did not exist when language was invented. Reality was trashed. And it was the beginning of a great, long, and adventuresome movie. Oh my goodness, guys. It's been a long, long haul. I should tell you the story of how this happened. And maybe I will right now. Then we'll just get through that. So there was this time when, as spirit, souls, and hearts, way, way, way back, I mean, probably a billion years ago, we were hanging out in these cities, in the mountains, the tall mountains, like I say. We were these tall, elegant beings. We had our light bodies, so-called. We were like about, from my perspective, we looked about 7 foot tall, very elegant. Most of us had very, very similar features. It'd be difficult to tell us apart if you were looking at us with sleepy eyes, because we all look so much alike, male and female. There were the male and female forms. There weren't relations as we know them now. There were energetic combinings, there were unions like that. There was all kinds of partying and playing going on, but in a very enlightened way, We were some of the happiest beings in the universe, just adjusting lightly into this fleshly condition, learning how to handle the organic elements as a part of self. It was kind of a new idea in creation. We hadn't put much in the way of solidarity in it before that. So here we go. We're checking it out, getting ready for the big roll. We didn't know when the big roll was coming or what form it would take, yet we knew exactly what we were about to do. So it's a little bit of both, but very enlightened beings, living with the gift of the heart. And yeah, we did live in pairs, but and couples, but we didn't reside that way. We resided with family. We each had our own halls and rooms and stuff, but the family was the all-important thing, and we were always together, and we were always joyous, and we were always sharing the wealth of our great love and bringing it in here where we could literally see it come into creation and enlighten and brighten our lives and make us even happier. That was our state of being before we devolved into this state of humanity in which we live now. So like I said, maybe a billion years ago, who can tell time? But it was a long, long time ago. And then there came this artist, brought here by some darker powers who aimed to invade this earth reality and take the innocence from the children and beat them over the head with it for a whole bunch of time, They really aimed to control the energy of the universe. These beings were feeling real insufficient, didn't feel like they had any power, so they were here to take it because they felt so empty inside, so disconnected from source, creation, great spirit. They felt as if that didn't exist for them anymore. So they were out. And since they felt condemned, they felt like it must be condemnation for everyone. So in that way, we became the baited trap, as I've discussed before, and drew the dark ones, as we called them. Let's call them the aberrant ones, the ones that were lost in aberration, because that's more than, I hate to give definitions like darkness and light, because it's really not so divided. We work in communion, union, divine harmony. So the light and the dark are the same thing. There's light in the darkness. There is no dark. There's only the heart. There's only the love that we create through that heart. And there's only our perspective, which filters our creation into being. In other words, our heart is creating what we're living in right now. Always. And so consciousness is just becoming aware of what is there, and through this great innocent love, allowing ourselves to flow into it, to be a part of that great flow. This is when the richness and the depths of appreciation take you to the highest heights of life. When you genuinely appreciate everything in your life, especially the giving of a soul or a heart, someone grants you that pleasure, someone grants you that privilege. For whatever the reason, I know it's been highly manipulative in this reality, and there's so much psychosis in these areas that it's driven people over the edge time and time again. And it's really screwed up now. From where we had free love back in the late 60s, early 70s, now it's, you're going to pay for everything, baby, and you're going to pay for the rest. You know, it's kind of a weird setup that we got going here with all these requirements all of a sudden built in. I mean, this is the last 30 years. Man, things turned around almost 180 degrees in that area. Intimate relations became a whole lot more difficult area of being, unless you were super casual about it. And even then, who can live with that? Wow, it's just too casual. But it's not casual anymore. Everybody has their requirements. Neurosis has come back in wholesale fashion, but I wonder why. So it can finally be discharged from this inequitous society, this land of mass stupidity and chaos, which has always had the thread of divinity running through it, and that's what's kept it. That's the divine harmony that's kept us alive, again, in the intimate ways, babies, in just occasional moments. Little flare here, and you go along, little flare here, little flare here. I'm talking about different beings all over the place, each one conveying that little moment and the energy of that moment into this reality, so the divine beings could remain present while they were invaded and occupied by others and, made to seem powerless within themselves. So that's what occurred back there in those days, a billion years ago or so, when we were hanging out in the mountains and having such a great time being the light beings that we are. And man, all of a sudden, bam, there was a change. This cunning person knew how to manipulate genetics on all levels. See, genetics aren't just physical. They run through spirit, too. It's the spiritual programming of love. It's a diagram, and energies are contained in that so-called DNA that create or help you create. It's a pre-program. You can change it as you go along. They say it's not changeable, but it is. My DNA's changed greatly in this life, and I could probably produce the physical proof without too much difficulty, but since I don't like dealing with medical establishments and so forth, I find them mostly just to be a bunch of greedy sorts, and I don't like doing it, so I just stay away from them. I don't have ill health, and so I just don't need those boogers. If I break a bone or something, I'll go get it reset, etc. And if I'm really, on my last leg, I might check into that, and I might not, because I don't want to ever give any medical people free reign upon my person, ever. I've watched them do in too many of my friends and family over this lifetime. I've watched the insanity and the rush towards, from where it was kind of human back in the 40s and 50s, now it's a completely heartless system that cares only about profit. I was in a hospital out in Oklahoma a while back. There was a friend in there I needed to visit and was helping out. And son of a gun, as a part of my little experience there, I heard the hospital administrator and some of his staff talking about how they could extend certain treatments to increase the income by about 1,000%. I mean, and the profit was their only motive in that discussion. It was all about dollars and cents. It had nothing to do with the patients or their good health. That's how far this obsession with money has taken these beings. They've gone completely over the edge. They don't even think in terms of love and healing. And that's why they're pretty soon going to be out of business, because they haven't served their cause loyally. They got away from it. They served the emptiness, And that's usually the greatest appeal in any area of life. I'm not just picking on doctors and hospitals, man. I'm telling you, it's all over throughout our society. It seems like the more corrupt way seems the better way. Follow the money, follow the flow of the money. That's what we always say when we're looking at criminal things like, say, 911. What a great setup. But anyway, looking around through all of that, we always see that criminal element seems to be the preeminent energy in this reality and not something that just lives under the surface. Now it's blatantly right there in your face. The attitudes have been so corrupt. And I think this is part of the same change between the genders, where the relationships have become difficult and twisted once again. It's the same kind of energy, People are more into it, approaching it from an empty place rather than a full one, and this gets you into trouble. When you approach it from need and not the heart's desire, or some combination thereof, when you let this need get in there, then you're just going to feed the need, and it doesn't fulfill you in the divine way. It's just as simple as that. It can't. You're blocked to it. The register of your heart has to be open completely to the person you love and wish to participate with. Completely. In order for this to function correctly in this multifaceted reality in which we live. So in other words, just like me, there is a unique combination somewhere here that will unlock my heart completely and bring the fullness of it forward in her presence, in my presence, and in the presence of this earth. You see, it's a singular combination. And, I suppose I could unlock that myself because I got the combo, of course. But it's far more fun, and it's far more dignified and helpful to the ascendant path if you allow that presence of, call it twin flame for lack of better words. Those two words really abused these days. But twin flames, man, and equitizing those energies. Like me and Mother God are right now. We're producing the new reality between ourselves just by being in this spirit communications. Our hands have touched, our hearts have touched. So babies, now our energies have recognized one another. The flow is equitizing between us. This is why we can safely predict the event as an arrival in the next few days, because babies, the energy is already here creating it. These are basic, essential energies of life. The essential beings. Hey, that's my little doggy Okie. If he upsets you barking, I do apologize, but my neighbors have visitors right now, and he's got to let us know about it, okay? Okie, be a good boy. Be a good boy now. Okie, be a good boy. Come here and sit on Daddy's lap. Hey, come here and sit on Daddy's lap. Come here. That's my boy. That's my boy. So this is Mr. Okie. His real name is Okiwan Kenobi. I don't know if you can see him or not, but he's pretty excited because there's somebody coming or going here, and that's just not right, He's such a beautiful being. Love your animals, baby. Just take really good care of them. They're worthy souls, every one of them, aren't you guys? Huh? Aren't you? Little king dog here, man. We call him the little big man and all kinds of other sweet little terms. He's such a good boy. And he means so well in this life. He just loves being and doing what he's being and doing, man. He's my buddy. We should all take an example from the dog. Love without condition and be and do yourself. Be happy with what you are, man, and let it play. Let it run around on life's freeways. Freeways everywhere here, man. You betcha we got it right. Here in the great daylight, babies, we're going there. And it's not going to take much time. I mean, we're through with the messing around stuff, obviously. Because, man, it's when the universe calls the energies together, that means it's time. And maybe you can't take it as that sign. Maybe you can't accept that a couple old hippies could actually have anything to do with the fate of the earth in any way. Yet the essential power of all the universe is in each and every one of us. So a couple old hippies not only can do this, they are doing it. And it's not just two, babies. There's several. And several more on their way. One way or another, this is going to be one hell of a gathering here in Crestone. Very close, very intimate, very real. But it'll be the essential source family returned in human form that gathers here to greet the rest of our family and bring that energy and wholeness back into this reality. And babies, that changes everything. That dissolves this old world away and brings the new into play. Simple as that. And why? because our hearts determined this a long time ago, that at this time frame, and this is how we did it and why it will work. At this time frame, those two energies that had been so separate, we've been bringing them back together a bit at a time through the generations, because they blew out way away from each other, and now they're on their way back and almost to the essential source inside. When that happens, that is the divine reunion. And that's when this event will occur, because the energies create it. See, that's been inequitous, that little inequity between female and male. It's been so far off the charts and has produced such brutality here, but caused such nobility to rise in us too as a result. Man, that is a purifying energy now. As these energies equitize, those inequities disappear, they evaporate, along with the essential earth in which we live. Now, she's real enough, but we get to move into the place where you call it multidimensional, 7th dimension, 11th dimension, you call it what you will. I'll call it 7th dimension, because that's essentially what it is when you reach the paradisical state. That's 7th dimension. But as we rise into it in consciousness, the dimensions disappear. They don't exist. It's a way we had of dividing ourselves from truth, these dimensions and divisions and veils between the realities and stuff. These are ways we had of tricking ourselves into thinking we were powerless beings and allowing ourselves to be occupied in slavery for many, many, many generations and learn a lot and gain a lot and bring back the family in every way. So there is no aberrant family anywhere throughout the universe now. We've self-corrected our creation as the essential heart source of that creation. Again, we are Mother Earth. We are her heart. We are her love. And therefore, her action, her life is lived through us. We are that creative essence that her heart employs to regenerate creation, to create creation, to live in that creation joyfully. That's our whole essential purpose of being. And that's who we are, and that's what we're all about. So babies, keep opening your hearts, keep letting it come to you, keep sending energy here to Crestone, Colorado, because Lord knows we need it, babies. And keep sending essential energies to me and the Mother God, and let's get this show rocking, babies. We are your essential source, your essential parents, but yet we've extended ourselves into you too. Therefore, we're your brothers and sisters, babies in arms, as I call it. We're all together in this. Just because one holds a certain energy that others need and find necessary in this reality, so we carry it for those that couldn't. I mean, in a kind of conscious way. The reality is, the same energy is in everyone, everything, but we're here to convey that image, that source image, the divine, back into everything that lives in full consciousness. See, again, that presence is already there, yet our perception so greatly altered, we didn't know it or see it, couldn't even understand it for a long, long time. These last 30, 40 years have been phenomenal growth in human consciousness. You would not believe the dumbed-down world I was born in. And babies, that was a far better one than my parents were born in 50 years before that, believe me. It's just crazy stuff that goes on here. Man, we're getting it, and we're getting it right. Why? Because the time's right. Because we've lived long enough to see. And in this adversity, the state of adversity, we've learned how to thrive. We've remembered our coyote nature, which never dies. The more you push us away from ourselves, the more self we're going to find, and the better off we're going to be. And we're going to be living as a sweet little coyote family forever and ever, once again, back to our palatial states of existence. But it's not so much grand as it is beautiful, as it is rewarding, as it is loving, just living in that love, being that love. It's difficult to describe, but that's our natural state of being. So happy, so carefree in that innocent love, that little baby love, as I call it. Baby has to be creator and creation, because only in innocence can life be created and formed. Outside innocence, it don't work. It gets all aberrated, as we've seen. And things get crazy, and we have to learn our divine lessons in a lot harder ways than we would otherwise. But it's all been valuable and good to us, or we wouldn't have done it. And what we do now with this event, this moment in time, this moment of now, where the gathering of the angels and the energies becomes complete. babies, change it all. Unite. I mean, that's what we're here for. To let go of the illusion, to bring forth the great love in full consciousness throughout our entire reality. Now I'm going to take a look down here on the panel and see if any of you left me any messages here or asking anything or what the heck is going on here. Let's see. The dog here is barking back.